どうもワンバンコ、私、驚天動地倶楽部のガグリッションと申します。なんだか、眠れない夜ってあるよね。そんなわけで、眠くなるまでゲームをやっていこうと思います。皆さんご存知です？Here Story というゲームをやってみようと思います。私は、七井さんがこのゲームをやってたのを見たことありますけど、ストーリーは知りません。なんか急にはたと思い出して、やっていこうと思います。ワンバンコ皆さん。初見です。かっこゲームが大丈夫。言わなくても分かってるよ。ラムネを食いながらやるぞ。ワンバンコ、やっていきましょう。どれなんかどうやらなんかビデオを見るらしいよ。髪の毛がちょっと俺の顔前すぎるな。このゲームなぜか他のところをタッチするとね戻っちゃうね。アンチグレーをチェックすると見えやすくなるようです。ただせっかくなんで雰囲気作りでちょっとこうしますか。皆さんも見づらいかな、どうかな。まあこれでやってみよう。ログイン名 Out to Guest アーカイブにアクセスするための検索ワードを入力してください。データベースなんか演出で蛍光灯が光ってて見えないね。検索ワード殺人。穏やかじゃないね。コルネサ読める？ワンバンコ。ね、次は楽しいゲームするとか言っといて、こういう風になってます。ユーザーセッションに保存されたクリップ。ハードディスク使用量232。これは何ギガ中の232なんだろう。インスタントアクセスファイル。触れない。動かせる。ソースイーストコントストック読めないわ。ロジックデータベースについて。怖いゲーム。ちょっと怖いかもしれない。コンピューターテクノロジーは現代の警察活動の根幹を担うものであり、このロジックデータベースは我々の仕事の流れをデジタル化し、より活用デジタル化のここがなんかちょっとはみ出てますけど、なんでより活用しやすい形で証拠を保存するための試みの一つです。犯罪に対処するための最重要ツールとしてコンピューターの需要は今後も一層高まっていくことが予想されています。このデータベースにはポーツマスの凶悪犯罪海運だとあれですね。関連アーカイブにより集めた、ちょっとこれアンチグレー外してみる。めっちゃ見やすい。このデータベースはポーツマス凶悪犯罪関連アーカイブより集めたビデオ映像がポーツマスの凶悪犯罪関連アーカイブ。凶悪犯罪。そのビデオが使用されている。データは ASR テクノロジーによって自動的に整頓され、各証言は個別のクリップに分割されて保存されているため、それぞれにキーワードを追加することで法定の定数の際に活用することができます。クリップを取得するには検索ボックスに言葉を入力する。例、強盗。なるほどね。検索を押すとその言葉が含まれるクリップが検索されます。また半角スペースで区切って複数の言葉を入力することで検索の幅を狭めることができます。こ コート、スーパーマーケットみたいな。テープを文字に起こした資料などが手元にある場合は、発言の全部をダブルクォーテーション。ダブルクォーテーションってどのクリックで打つんだ？クリックかなんかわからんけど。検索したクリップを後で参照した場合はセッションに保存。またタグボックスの2位の。なんか難しいな。俺このゲームうまくできるのかな？レアリダメ。レアリ本当？こいつがデータベースだ。なんか、誰かのメモっぽいね。JB だったら面白い。こいつがデータベースだ。情報公開法に沿って申請し、ゲストとしてのアクセス権を取得しておいたよ。見たところ、ちゃんと機能しているようだな。オリジナルのビデオテープからの移行は1999年に行われたみたいだが、その後の Y2K 騒ぎやなんやらでこいつは放置されたままになっていたようだ。残念ながら刑事の映像が入ったサーバーの方は見つけられなかった。あるいは1997年の洪水の際にやられてしまったのかもな。何せよこれだけでも情報としては十分なはずだ。ここの情報をここに入力すればいいのかな。この DB チェッカーって何？更新。前か。ゴミ箱。あんじゃん。ミラータイル。なんだこれ。ログオフ。終了しちゃう。ダメ。ちょっともう一回雰囲気出すわ。うわ。人の顔見たくなってるね。なんだろう、ちょっとわからない。これはオフできんの？オセロ。一人オセロな。俺がどっちも操作してんだけど。一人オセロじゃん。なこれ。ミラータイルってオセロは海外ではそういう風に言うの？もう本編行きましょうか。殺人検索。はい。クリップがあるで。見てみようか。
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
殺人だと思う。死んでんの？見たらマーク消えてる。なんでしょう、わからんね。再生しましょ
う。Yeah, that's me. But February.
でも2月数ヶ月前でしょ。
What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
サイモンさんの殺人とこの人関係あんの
？I'd like to speak to a lawyer now.
なんだ。訴えられてんのか？
You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that.
ただの作り話だもん。なんかデータベースチェッカーだ。この3つを見たからこうなったのか。他の動画探してみるか。凶器あるかな。 あったけど、これもう見たやつかな。見たやつだね、きっと。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now.
うん。今日は
You have
氷
no
結を飲ん
money,
で
my
ます。
friend. You have nothing.
見たな。見れるこれで。ちょっとこっからなんか
You think it's murder?
え
I mean, clearly it's
なんか
murder.
サイモンっていう単語があったか。
What can I do to help?
自由度が高すぎて俺クリアできない可能性があるな。ああ、めっちゃあるわ。めっちゃあるな。見よう。今日は体調元気
Simon.
元気。
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
アーティスティックな仕事のサイモンさん。
It's the Rockington Arms. The Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan.
ピーターとスー
There's
ザ
some
ン、
other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with. And the barmaid they have in sometimes.
ヘレン。
Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
サイモンさんのことについてこの方は喋ってるんですね。重要参考人。
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it for very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, and Save the Princess.
塔に登ってお姫様を救うドルアーガの塔かな。くだらないことを言うのやめましょう。
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
サイモン事故にあったの？サイモンっていう単語が多すぎてこの動画しか見れないんだ。
Thanks.
あ、バカ。
Please find Simon. I
彼
love
を
him
愛して
so
る。
much.
翻訳者。ああ、増えてる。この黄色いのは何だろう。あ、最後に見たのがこれってことか。時系列としてこうなってるってことだね。そっか、じゃあ最後にやったのが弁護士呼んでちょうだいか。今のところ。じゃあやっぱ普通に。気になる単語はございました、皆さん。私は基本的に
Simon.
分かんなくなったら皆さんに頼りま
He
す。
works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass.
アースプラスガラ
Simon
ス
does
会
the
社。
more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
サイモンさんが最後にどう動いたか分かんないね。
It's the Rockington Arms. The Rock. It's run by
ザ・
a
ロ
nice
ック
couple,
検索してみ
Peter and
る。お、増えた。あ、これロックの人かな。ちょっとこっちから見ますか。
So, it was Friday evening.
奉納して彼が出てった。
He left. On Saturday, he didn't come
エ
back.
リックを手伝うことになっていたんだけど、
He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon.
彼が来ないってエリックが電話で言ってて、
So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock. That's
ああ、
the
ザ・ロック。
They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all.
今朝になってもまだ帰ってこない。
Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you.
あ、警察来たんだ。
His parents haven't heard anything either.
ちょっともう一回見ていい？
So, it was Friday
まあ、
evening.
彼というのはサイモンのことだ
We
よ
had
ね。
an argument. He left.
サイモンが出てっ
On
た。
Saturday, he didn't
土曜
come
の
back.
午後はエリックを手伝うことになっていたんだけど、まあそれが終わっても帰ってこないと。
He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon.
あ、彼が来ない。
Didn't show. So Eric
はいはいはい。サイモンが土曜の夜からいなかったんだ。ではこの人。
I don't know. I mean, I guess The Rock. You've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know.
あ、サイモンの行き先かな。
So many things could have gone wrong.
エリックね、このゲーム面白いね。私すごい面白いと思うこれ。エリックでいっぱい出てきた。ちょっと見ます。ザ・ロック。あ、ごめんなさい、調べてないのも後で調べるかもしれないです。
He was wearing
あ、すまな
a
い。
shirt
彼は青いタートルネックジーンズを履いてた。
and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house.
メモした方が良さそう。素晴らしいことを言ってくださいましたね。焼酎ロックそんな飲んでんの？いいですね。私はこれが2杯目かな今日。よし。今この瞬間からメモを返す。
Yes, there's a car that we share,
Cavalier.
a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked on the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
キャバリエ。こんなの必要なのかな。
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa.
銀色のビザ
silver。one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash. But
現金派なんだ。
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife,
お
Diane?
ダイアン。ちょっと多分何の意味もないキャバリエから調べようか。あ、キャバリエここだけだね。OK。ダイアン。増えましたね。ギター持ってる。ちょっとチェッカー見るか。やっぱまあ上の方から大体時系列順かな。この1個のファイルが見つかりませんっていうの気になるね。聞いていきましょう。
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year.
サイモンの時計をもらったん
It
だ。
was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time,
グラスゴ
you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
ー。なんか全然関係も良好なのかな。全然喧嘩したりこの人が疑われるような感じではないですけどね。
Not really.
No way.
He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook. Into her trendy ingredients.
この人誰？
And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines.
うん。フェンネルって
I
何？
had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
フェンネル。これは？
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't.
あれ日付実際と異なってる。あれマジ？
Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist.
ちょっと待って、もう一回、最初から見ろ。
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
この人ダイアンか。ちゃんと過去を思い出してるときどっちを見ていますか？こっちこっちなんかあるんだよね、人間。ちょっとグラスゴーが気になるんで、グラスゴーを見てみようか。フェネル、ハーブの衣装。ありがとう。みんなよく知ってますね。さっきまで6月だったのに、今7月の映像になってる。あ、そうなん？それってどうなんだ？どのくらい？あ、飛んでる。あ。そっか。こっから古い、新しいってわけじゃなくて、この古い新しいの間にも隔たりがある可能性があるのか。このいつ単語を喋ったかわからんから、まあ、とりあえずこれを見ましょう。ザーロックね、メモっとくわ。これは6月か。
I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
とにかく北へ走ったわ。
Yes.
これは服が同じだけどちょっと髪型が違うな。まあでも日付が同じか。
I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
これアリバイ検証されてんのかな？
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
あなたを見た人はいますか？グラスゴーで。いや、いないと思うわ。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
病院、車、傷。ザーロック調べてみようか。あ、ザーロック一回見たんか。ザーロック何話してた？飲み屋の話か。で、ここでダイヤが分かったのか。埋まってくると嬉しいな、これ。フェンネルは1個だけかな。フェンネル1個だけだ。タクシー。あ、タクシーあるな。ぶつけた相手からは事情聴取してないのかな。
police station. Yeah.
警察署にお世話になったことあるかい？
We ran away on my birthday.
ああ、家出したのか。
Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we would
Bob
break into
Dylan?
his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare.
おう。
He was suspicious because we were so young.
ああ、なるほど。
The police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve.
ああ、イブ。
So my parents let me off.
イブさんという新しい人の名前がいましたね。会社の名前何でしたっけ？ガラス会社の名前だよね。
It's like I told you before. I drove. I took the car
7月だ。
and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove
あ、
north.
同じ質問してんだ
I。wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from the payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
イギリスが舞台なのかい？喋り方で分かったのかい？その会社名だよね。ちょっと調べてみる。あー。スト。ああ、これだけね。ちょっと今の、あれで、ボブという単語が、ボブ。ああ、マジか。検索した単語にはチェックでもつけとこうか。ダイアン、ザロック、タクシー、ボブ調べた。一応片っ端からビザ。逆にないんかい。病院。あ、増えたね。うん。イブ、ハナ、そうね。それも後で調べましょう。
Ask the hospital.
え？ん？いや、眠くなるよ。眠くなるって。わあ、ここでやってるんだ。病院に連絡して一言だけ。
Ask the hospital.
ん？これはなんか今この人が具合が悪いのか、話の過去を回想して喋ってるのがわからんね。
Ask the hospital.
でも具合悪そうじゃないから違うのかな。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was
これが
exhausted.
94年の6月27
I
日。
was driving.
もう6月27、21時6分33秒。21時6分33秒。あ、こっちの方が後だ。
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
そうか。まあまあちょっとこれ聞くか。7月2日。
I don't see how it's hard. We established I was in
疑われて
Glasgow
る
and
ね。
was killed. You've spoken with the hospital.
あ、まだ病院には連絡してないのかと。傷。車の傷。あ、連絡で増えたね。病院。気になるな、この辺。27日だ。ちょっとこれを見ますか。
I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up,
それがグラスゴーの帰りの話か。
Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And Is there a bin?
具合悪くなった。あ、だから病院に連絡してって言ったのかな。この時髪縛ってるもんね。なんか取り乱したのかな。
Ask the hospital.
あ、そうだ、これの後だわ、これ。ってなって病院に連絡してってなったんだ。花が大事だと思って帰った。またこっちから見ていこうか。この青い服の時。
Sure, I think. I do all the bills and paperwork and handle all the money stuff, so it should be easy for me to find. Do you want them dropped off to you?
こことはどこのことだ？
I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband.
行方不明になってるのは誰なの？なんだか今登場人物と他の人が全然俺結びついてないな。夫で探したらたくさん出てきちゃった。みんなイブとか花が気になってると思うんですけど、ちょっと待ってくださいね。一応調べますね。うわあ、これ全部時系列順に見てえな。少しずつしか疑問が解決しない。距離が近いだけに言葉もきつくなると。喧嘩した話かな。まあこの人も、喧嘩したんかこの人も。あれこの人同じ人もしかして。あ、この人同じ人なの？なんか印象が全然違うね。あ、同じ人っぽいわ。うわ。俺全然違う人かと思ってた。
Yes, I'm fine.
失礼しました。
This happened some days. I'm pregnant.
妊娠してらっしゃるから、つわりがある。これさっき具合悪くなった時のかな。妊娠というキーワードもBGM 変わった？最初からこんな BGM だっけ？見ますか。
When you suspect someone of murdering their husband.
自分の夫を殺すとでも？そんなことないよね。
Yes, I'm fine. Oh, be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant.
BGM 気づかんかった？あ、いきなりついた。そんな気もするよね。音ちっちゃいです、もしかして。ちょっと上げるね。一応ゲージ見て、自分の声の方が大きくなるようにしてんだけど、逆の方がいいかな。要勉強。お待ちかねのイブさんとか調べてみる？うん、あるね。
Well, my friend Eve.
友達のイブに
I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid.
幼馴
She
染
was
なの
also
かな？
popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
聞くんだ。この方が疑われて事情を聴取されているのかな？服装を含めて彼女の特徴を表現されているんですね。うんうん。そうですね。疑われてるんだろうな。
Yes. We'd fight.
喧嘩。
We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater.
ビーチで
There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under,
頭を押さえつけなが
and
ら。
I kept it out.
それはなかなか激しいですね。
And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up after. It was a love-hate
その
relationship.
後に仲直りした合図を混ざった関係だったの。でもこれはイブさんとの話だもんね。なんかここ泣いてますよ。泣いてんのか、それとも寝てんのか。花のこと言ってますね。
What are you doing talking about Eve? Poor Simon.
ん？サイモンは花に殺されたの？いや、また音変わったわ。音変わってるよね、これ完全に。いや、これ、多分全部見つけないとわからんわ。
My mother called me Eve.
母は私をイブと呼んだ。なんだ、イブは君のなんだ、兄弟か。花。いっぱいあるね。今まで散々見てきた、散々ってまだ全然埋まってないけど、この辺だよね。こっから上、前半なんだよね、やっぱまだ。重要な単語まだ調べられてないんでしょう
My
ね。
name is Hannah. Hannah. It's a palindrome.
うんうん。花。
It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
ああ、メモしきれねえ。私の声上げる？ちょっと上げてよ、今。ちょっともう一回聞きます
My
か。
name is Hannah. Hannah. It's a palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
グラッドストーン。グラッドストーンまた音が変わったな。グラッドストーン。続きました。もう1ページメモで埋まりそうだ。
My name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry. Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
何をしまったんだ。このゲーム面白いな。
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time.
いや、同時に生まれて。
The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
今画像変わった？
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary.
彼女の日記。
Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
彼女の日記、
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. It was a dollhouse. She recognized me from the window. She told me to come
家の
inside,
中に招き入れ
and
た。
she hid me. They had made the
そ
attic
して人
into
形
a
の家
place
な
where
んかが
Hannah
置い
could
てある
play.
家の
It
屋
was a
根裏に
dollhouse. She hid me up there.
私を隠したの。
No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
監禁されてたの？わあ、人映ったよね。これ調べてる人なんだろうな。屋根裏。あるね。表の人格日記。あと双子か。そっちの可能性もあるのか。
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon.
二重人格の方が分かりやすいかも
Back
ね。
to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things.
懐かしい人形の家。こっちは
I
花
didn't
か。
sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was enough.
両親の部屋で寝れるようになるまで数年かかった。なんだ、虐待されてたのか。やっぱ二人いんのかな。なんかわからんけど進めよう。
I read a lot as
子
a
供の時は
child.
本やテレビジョン
Watched
が
lots
好きだ
of
った。
TV, then the doll's house we had.
屋根裏の人形の家を使って、
It's kind of a fairy
でお
castle.
話を考えたりして遊んだりもしたわ。ああ、双子の線か。双子の線かね。なんか探偵になった気分ですよ。
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they? We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
人形。なんだ、人形に焦点を当てるのか。
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows.
なんだ、シルバニアファミリーの話をしてるの
Hours
か。
and hours playing in it. Invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all. Passports, diaries, gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
アラビアンナイト。調べてない単語がなんかたくさん出てきたな。ちょっと何でもいいんで、ちょっと上から順番に調べてない単語を入れていくわ。あ、ほら出てきた。恐ろしい。車。あ、聖書になんか気になるの保存しておけばよかったね。
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night.
花金はずっと出かけてた。
After the argument, after Simon left.
口論の後サイモンが出てきて私も出てった。
I was upset and I wanted to get away.
それがあれか。グラスゴーに行った時の話か。
So I took the car.
うんうん。
Yeah. I pulled over and slept in the car.
車を止めて眠
This
っ
was
た。
just by the side of the
道路
road.
のすぐ脇でね、す
I
ごく
was
疲れて。
exhausted.
うん。これ調べたかな。調べたね。ロンドン。ロンドンも1個だけ。ロンドン。あれバスツアーなんでないんだろう。それ単語あったはずなのに。あ、これか。ポーツマス。ああ、これも同じだ。あれ、結局まだ花調べてなかったっけ？花調べたのか。チェックしなかったですね、花。母、いっぱい母って言ってんな。どれどれ。
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mom worked there before I was born.
何の店だい？
I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything, though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
うん。
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Sam's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff, stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back and That's when I saw the bin bags.
ゴミ袋。
Pulled them open,
うわ、
saw the body,
それがサイモンだ
I
った。
screamed, and that's when I called the police.
ええ20時54分。20時59分、その後か。
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here.
ん
She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out. Okay.
これはあれか。検査してるん
There's
だ
a
ね。
girl
こ
and
う
she's staring out of the window. She's
何
sad.
検査っていうんですか、こういうの。なんか絵を見てどう思いますか、検
She's
査。
trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her
あれ
out.
なんか最近私そういう舞台を見た気がしますね。まあでもまさかあるわけないよな。よかった、なくて。なくてよかった。待ってね。母で見てないやつを見ますね。
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah.
サラ。
Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
ん
My name is Hannah. Hannah. It's a palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
鏡この感じじゃないよ。あ、鏡。青が花、赤が私。うん。
It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The
サイ
present
モン
was
と
a
の
mirror,
口論の理由
a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story.
あれはアーティスティックだから
He
ね。
made it specially for me.
あはん
His body didn't look real.
うん。
His throat. It looked like his throat had been cut.
彼が喉切り裂かれたように。
And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses.
あ、メガネの鏡に反応したんだ。
He doesn't always wear them.
かけてなかったメガネをどっかに落としたのか。なんか急に元気になってるような印象を受けちゃうんだよな、この顔とこの顔で。服は同じだよね。
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
うん。 感覚の2でどうだ。ああ、出てきた。これかなり本当に一言一句正確に打たないと出てきてくれないんだって。2回、聞いてみましょ
う。Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room. Nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. Eleanor?
エレノは調べたっけ？ああ、まだもう一個ありました。でも今読んだのでもかなり前半なんだよな。わ、鳥の橋の方に車止めて。ドアをノックしたけど返事がなかったから。カバンから鍵を出した。鍵がすでに開いてた。おお、同じこと言ってる。コートも靴も見当たらなくて。彼はキッチンで紅茶を飲むのが好き？
I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss. I didn't answer it. Then I came out and I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
微妙に違うね。
Okay.
あ、難しい。
I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg.
これ一時停止とかないのかな？
I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly in the living room.
で、その後シャワー浴びたの？
I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. that enough?
まあ、聖書に保存しておきましょう。6月30日。4月1日。よし、よし。27、28、29、30。この人1日ごとに人格変わるのかな。そんな感じがするな。こっちの人と、髪を下ろすタイプの人と、髪をまとめるタイプの、まあ、わかんないけど。例えば眠くなってきていますか？皆様は、眠くなって、眠くなってきたでしょうか？私はまだまだ眠くないので頑張ります。いや、ここすげえ気になるな。地下室。アーカイブは残ります。気兼ねなく。寝てください。3人いるくらいの印象違い。3人、もしかしたら3人いんの？ 3 人いたらちょっとビビっちゃうな。お手上げよう。もう今でさえちょっとパンクしてんだから。聞きましょう。いいえ。
The whole thing was wrong.
不自然な点ばかり。
The bags.
あの袋は。
I think they were from our kitchen.
多分キッチンにあったものだと思う。
We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
ちょっとわからんな。前後が全くわからん、今の。ああ、それもそのはず。見たことがない。
Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't looked in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As
し
good
かし
as
さん
new.
まだ見てない。死体が入ってたんだよね。
But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So,
検視官。あ、俺、今の1個見てなかったな。見とこ。
it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes.
ん
They're gone. We took him down to the cellar.
ん
We knew we
自白してん
had
じゃ
an
ん。
alibi. So we wanted the body to be found later.
自白してるよ
We
ね。
wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch. That was my
私のアイディア
to
共
make
犯
sure
がいん
we
の
had
か
that stuck.
え7月3日あ、もうかなり最後の方だ。ここで弁護士呼んでが来るんだ。待って。もう一回聞こう。
It happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed
私
almost.
たちは暗黙のうちに了解しちゃった。いや、これあれだな。
The baby was what mattered. Silently.
あれだな、暗黙のうちに了解っていうのは、その、言葉を交わさなかったのではなく、交わせなかったけど、
We cleaned up.
っていうことだな。二重人格だから。
We mirror, her clothes, they're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We knew we had an alibi. And we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us so we could then disprove it rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk
まずは死体を
losing
隠
it.
す。それが地下室。死体隠しが。
The watch
時計は私のアイディア。時計わからんな。
to make sure the alibi stuck.
なん俺の目的をもう一回。これ昔の事件をこの人は調べてんの？ポートマス凶悪犯罪関連アーカイブにより集められたビデオ映像が収納されているサイトの配信。各証言は個別のクリップに分割され保存されているため、こっちな、これタグどうやってつけるの？あ、俺がつけれる。更新されてるかな？自白。もっと、俺もうちょいきちっとやっておけばよかったな。いや、これ全部の映像クリアしたら、クリアとかではなく、あれだよね。なんか、真実を知れたらとかでは？検視官調べた。調べたか。OK。調べたか。この人たちは最初から人たちなのか、その人なのかわからんけど、最初から分かってて、虚偽の発言をしたのかな。6月25。なんかだいぶ過去っぽい感じだけど。
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get
妊
married.
娠してから結婚したタイプ。
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months.
流産したの
？We carried on living at Simon's parents until
それから数ヶ月後に最後の両親の家を出たわ。なんか事後報告って書いた俺がバカみたいじゃないか。申し訳ないことをしたな。消そう。妊娠、喧嘩、けなき。これしかないか。ビーチ。増えてますね、ビーチ。
else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye.
話をしただけ。
Then next week I was singing the bar
週も
again.
彼はバーにやってき
There
て、
he was. And again the next week, he offered to buy me a meal.
あ、サイモンのこ
I
とか
told
な。
him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye,
別れ際にキスをせがまれたわ。
romantic.
のろけ話をしていますね。4月3日11時55分。4月3日11時55分。だいぶ落ち着いて自白してるな。ちょっとなんとなくのイメージが出てきましたけど、きちっと分かってないですよね。動機が分かってないし、殺したのはこの人なんでしょうけど、動機が分からんな。なんかここの一本だけビヨンって出るのなんでこれ。見てこれ。ほら。いや、聞いてみましょう。4月1日。
What did your wife?
入れ墨入ってたんだ。
She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me.
疑われて怒
I
ってる
mean,
ね。
why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
もっともですね。7月3日、これも自白した時の、12時4分だから自白のちょい前か。
I didn't murder Simon.
全然、
You've got the wrong person.
犯行否定してんじゃん。この30分の間に何があったん？なんだ何の確信めいたことがあったんだ？わからないので調べます。ダグ。もうワンサが出てきたね、ダグで。聞いてこう。殺人がサイモンだけじゃないってこと？殺した人と殺してない人ってことは。
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I
この
feel sorry
9月
for them.
25だね。心配している。ダグとエレノは。
To contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids.
少し冗談を交えなが
So
ら
you
ね。
see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's
常に両
always
親の
been
干渉が入り続けてた。
I hoover my dust every
あ
week,
れ入れ墨？
maybe less. I once asked
あれ？消しちゃダメだよ、データを。
What did your wife do?
ここ？
She didn't kill you.
なんだろう、じゃあ入れ墨じゃないのかな？
You think I
消せる
killed
タトゥ
Simon
ー。
because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even.
あ、
Okay.
ない
I
ね。
parked up in the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door. on the answer.
ないね。あれ、これ見た？
I got a job to contribute.
あ、これだね。これもう一回聞こう。
Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's always been pressure.
ちょっと入れ墨という単語で調べてみようか、後で。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful. Because of the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist. I had to look that up. It was because of the heat. It's just awful.
どういう経験？レストさん、明日お仕事なのでこのまま寝落ちします。ショーンさんも眠くなったら寝てもらってクリア頑張りおやすみなさい。ありがとうございます。おやすみなさい。明日の仕事を頑張ってください。私は休みなのでもうちょっとやりたいと思います。あ、でももう1時半か。意外と早いでんな。
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the
この事件は1980なんて言った1984年の事件の話をしてるのか。警察たくさん来た。法医昆虫学者。ん？サイモンが死んだ時にはまだ生きてそうな言いぶりだったよね。私の首にへその緒が巻きついたから助産師が死んだと母に報告したのとか、あ、言ってたね。言ってたね。言ってたけど、はい。天地創造の旧約聖書。全然わかんないよ。スミス動画見たか。ちなみにオセロって調べてみていい？オセロ。あ、ないか。グラッドストーン。2個だけか。エレノア。お、あるな、1個。7月1日、14時。この人は入れ墨ある方かな。こぼしたな。
I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just...
なんだろう、この状況から次の動画はシミになっちゃうとか言ってそうじゃない？言ってないか。この状況から考えて、もう一杯。お、もう一杯で引っかかりましたね。コーヒーこぼしたからもう一杯。でもさっきの続きじゃねえな。 さっきの続きじゃございませんけど、ちょっと見てみますか。
Maybe a fresh cup of tea?
短っ。その関連では紅茶が好きなのかい君は。ああ、2つ増えたね。この人は紅茶、これこぼす前か。
Okay.
ああ、あの時の。
I parked up on the street.
そうだ。
He wasn't there.
2人がタグつけとくか。アリバイ、これもそうなんだよね。
Maybe a fresh cup of tea?
こうじゃなくこっちか。
Okay. I walked to the bed.
これも一応アリバイじゃないな。少しの状況というタグをつけておきましょう。これを喋った後紅茶をもう一杯欲しがったんだ。ではこっちははい。
Could I have a cup of tea?
あ、紅茶いただける。6月25。海外のなんか表記やっぱ見づらいね。慣れてないから。5日後。
A cup of tea would be good, thanks. Just one sugar.
やっぱ紅茶の口をよく出すのはこの人ですね。結んでる方。砂糖。これ砂糖一つでさっき見たやつで、これはその後12分後。
Just the one sugar. Thanks.
あ、そのカップ砂糖だったんだ。
Is that kind of recording?
こっちの人は砂糖使わないね。おっと、いや、見とこ。
Coffee, I guess. Milk and sugar.
ミルク。ミルクと砂糖を入れる人、砂糖を一つ入れる人。あ、コーヒー。この人はコーヒーを飲むんだ。90年6月18日。コーヒー。
Black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is.
なんかかっこいいこと言ってる。どういうこと？ブラックコーヒー甘さは足りてる？なんか食ったのか、お菓子でも。
Black, no sugar. Thanks.
はい。
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
う
about 8 years back. It was a present to myself.
これタトゥー触っててタトゥーの話してるよね。
I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby.
8年
It's
前の
been
タトゥ
hard
ー。
trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
うん。
No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
うん。おー、めっちゃ出てきた。6月18日。
No, he doesn't have any
え、
tattoos.
嘘つきじゃん、嘘つきじゃん、嘘つきじゃん。
He has a scar
お
down here
お
near
腹
his
からお尻に
stomach,
かけて傷があるの？
past his hip. Cut himself with some glass.
うん？
That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not books so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
うんうんタトゥーとコーヒーやっぱ別人なの？え、別にちょっと待って、俺は勘違いしてるのか。もう一回見るよ。
No, he doesn't have any tattoos.
サイモンはタトゥー入れて
He
ない
has
よ。
a scar
サイ
down
モンは
here
お
near
腹
his
からお尻に
stomach,
かけて傷があるけど、
past his hip.
ずいぶん前の
Cut
話よ。
himself with some glass.
ガラスで切ったの
That
よ。
was before,
っていうことですか
a
ね。
long time ago. He looks just like the photo.
まあ、サイモンは、まあ、この写真と違うのはメガネかけてるのよ。っていうことですか。あ、そういうこと？
But he needs them to see
Okay,
properly,
okay.
you know.
OK。
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my
自己の証
individuality.
明。
It's an apple and a snake.
リンゴとヘビ、みかんと風車じゃなくて。ヘビとなんつってた今。
Oh, my tattoo.
リンゴとヘビ？
I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
ヘビ。
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit.
面白いな、これ。
The occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
30、40人格くらいまであんの？なんか多くても30くらいかなと思ったけど、40人格とかもあり得る感じになってきた。
He saw me singing one of my shows.
彼も
Pure
歌ってる？
chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there.
サイモンか？
Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously, I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was.
彼は違う。
He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
Eh? この人は誰なの？でもなんか一回双子の説は消えた気がしてたんだよな。もうだいぶ埋まってきたな。とはいえまだ半分埋まってないですね。見ましょう。
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question?
うわぁ、双子じゃないと思ってる。え、怖い怖い怖い。今ファンファンファンファンファンって音したよね。
Are you out of your mind? Twins?
双子？ありえない。
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
不倫の話をしている。助産師。全く違う証言をするから双子と聞かれたが、実際他の人格を知っている人格はじゃあ潜水忍みたいな人ってことですか？悠々白書の7人くらいいて、まあその潜水忍の場合全員が全員の人格を知ってるけど、自分が多重人格者であることを知らない人格と知っている人格がいると。
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me.
びっくりした。画面に今人の影が映ってびっくりしちゃった。ゾッとするよ。なんか俺分かってるようでちゃんと分かってないわ。分かってるようで多分分かってないよね。
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
後押し今。そうだね。片方助産師の育てて、で勘違いで死んでっていうのが勘違いで生きてたけどどうしようもなくってみたいな。
Florence was a warm, kind person, but she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. older papers, letters, that kind of thing. Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again.
それがフローレン
Isn't that
ス
strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know. No, it was just me and her. It was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
なんかわからなくなってきたぞ。多重人格者の人と別で生まれた人がいるの？死んだと思ってたけど生きてたって人がいるってこと？結婚増えたね。なんかやっぱ全部見てみよ
う。A long time.
A long time.
We got married when I was 17.
17歳で結婚したんだ。
Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. And you married detective. I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay.
Come Back
I'm not
and
sure if
Stay.
that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us. We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together.
もう一回見て。
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in
ライトン
Brighton.
の方って
It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our
旅
holiday.
行が習慣になった。いろいろ調べてみるか。エレノアは調べた。フローレンスも調べた。本当にエレノア調べた？調べたね。よし。テレビ。 お、あるね。
Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection.
もう一人
She
の
also had
私。
short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books.
かわいそうだな。お酒を取ってきます。戻りました。ストロングゼロを乗ります。より一層皆さんの力を借りるかと思います。続けていきますか。
Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think. We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements.
マジで双子なのか幻覚を見てるのかちょっと分かんなくなってきたな。
I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her, something would happen. We would become one. One girl. The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place.
何かを信じたかったのか。この辺がっぽり抜けてんな。1984年。この単語に何か心当たりはないでごんすか。自訳する前だったからアリバイのために双子じゃないよ。そうなのかな。リンゴ、これだけか。エビ。 出るね。でも1個しか出ないわ。日記で出たか。1ページちょっと埋まっちゃったな。まあまあまあ、しゃあない。6月18日。
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my
サイモンは
thing.
日記を書かない。
I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. Helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page.
また別の。この人とこの人はすごい同じような感じするんだよね。
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother.
ああ、じゃあフローレンスが死ん
I
だって
burned
こ
the
と。
diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
うん。びっくりした。家を出て向こうの通りに歩いてった。この人を育ててくれたのがフローレンスさんで、そのまま本当の自分に会いに行った。私が間違ったこと言ってたら違うんじゃないって言ってくれたらありがたいです。日記、両親ありましたね。この人は双子ありえないわって言ってる人だよね。まあちょっと時系列的に嘘ついてる可能性もあるけど。
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full time at
ガラス屋の
Glazier's.
社員になったアーティスティッ
That
クな
was
社
Eric's
員ね。
generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope. Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents.
Hmm? 結構あんな。毛だけに。よし、聞きましょう。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo instead of spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
なんだ、誰の写真だ。
It's Rapunzel.
ラプンツェル。
The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince. Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened.
ああ、これあれか、心理テ
She
ストのあれ
throws
か
her。into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind. But she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much? What kind of hairs? is Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents
こ
and
れ
keeps her
は
locked
自
up
分の
in
ことを言
this
ってる
tower.
ような感じになってるのが。
Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince. And Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. She throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind. But she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
ラプンツェル出てくるね。
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it.
ラプンツェルがお気に入りだったのは、自分の閉じ込められてた人生と重ねてるせいでは？
Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
カード？この人が精神異常者だと思って絵を見せてんのかな？
Did I pass? Sorry. Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa.
ああ、ビザカード久しぶりに見た。
He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
エリックはガラス屋の人ですね。現金。銀色。金色。あ、金色。あ、金色出てきた。では。
Really?
なんかこの人陽気だよな。
Here's the rest. Oh, they made a body of a doctor. Oh, the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. Oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. Oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune
結構ちゃんと歌うじゃん。
that the fiddle could play was oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
なんか歌詞にヒントないかな。 この人のオリジナルソングだったとしたら潜在的に記憶に残ってる歌を歌いそうだよね。これが残り。彼女の下は港に横たえられ、おお、風と雨よ。ここにやってきたフィリップスの車。おお、恐ろしい。風と雨。娘の髪で風と雨よか。なあ、もう一回歌ってんのかな。
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No, it's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed
何は妹を海に押し入れる。おお、恐ろしい風と雨よ。なんだこれ。さっき聞いた曲のイントロか。うわ、これもうほぼじゃん。テイルズ・オブ・ジャビスでいうところのバンプ・オブ・チキンが歌ってるパルマですよ。うわ押さえつけたイブにやってんだっけ。この後変な展開に、十分変だと思うよ。自白はこの人だけど妊娠してる認識もこの人。いや、なんかもうわけわかんなくなってきた。双子になったのは確かで、こっちの人がじゃあって殺しちゃいましたピューンってなって、こっちの人が一人で殺してしまった双子のあれとをやっていくうちに、2人3人4人とこう自分の人格が増えていったみたいな可能性はないですか。あの時本当は殺してしまっていたんじゃない。後天的に増えていった。たくさん 真相が気になりますが、気になりすぎて目が冴えて寝落ちできません。無念ですが、明日から寝落ちます。メタテンションさん頑張れ。自分は双子説に一票です。アーカイブ楽しみにしています。おやすみなさい。すいません。ありがとうございます。見ていただいて。明日も頑張っていきましょう。私も明日はありますが、明日はほぼ休みです。もう一回歌を聴くか。
Really? Okay.
その後の歌を聴かせてくださいって言ったんだよね、きっと。ペグを作った胸の骨でフィルムを作った。バラバラ殺人事件。2人出てくるね。今メモってるやつを片っ端から入力してます。でも見たか。お、見るか。
No, not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has one or two. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food, but no, he doesn't have any kind of drinking properly.
9日後。
God, I don't know.
わからないわ。
Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense.
サイモンが殺された夜のこと話してんのかな。結構埋まってきたな。この辺が足りないな。チットチャット。 とりあえずこれ見るか。
No, he was as shy as me. I asked a friend to ask him out for me.
サイモンが内気だったんか。
We had our first date at the ocean.
オデオン座、オデオン
Sea
座
whiskey business.
卒業白
I
書。
had on my one best dress. Simon paid. He bought me a whisper, and I was worried about getting chocolate on my teeth. Was he my first?
お、
No need
突っ
to
込
be
んだこ
so
と聞くね。
coy. No, he wasn't my first.
カールは
That
新しい
would
や
have
つ
been
でした。
Carl. He was a local boy in a band.
バ
He
ン
was a bit
ド
of a shit. But he was sexy. We were 15.
15の時。初体験聞いた後に音楽買わのやめてほしいよね。
No. I told her it was one of my boyfriends, someone I had met in the bar. I think she was happy. But I could tell she was thinking, why couldn't it happen to her and Simon? They were the ones with the real life. Why not them?
これもうかなり終わりの方の証言か。時計。え、こんなんあった？え、6時16分？どれも揃ってなくない？どういうことこれ？これ2023年の23これ。16分ではないよね。他にもなんかある？触れないもの。ちょっといいです。あ、SB さんが話しかけてる。どんな感じだ？終わったのか？まだまだ終わらないよ。なんで打てないの？これからさぐらいの方がいい？なんで打てないの？お穴。なんだこれ？なんでまだしかいけ、なこれ？もうちょっと。ああ、まだって打ったわ。終わったら教えてくれ。ああ、はいはい。まだの一言っていうのなんか、そっけないですけど。コール。電話かけれんの？まだ。あ、そういうことね。はいはい、オッケーオッケー。ここに置いとくか。これもこの謎も解いてないですからね。これオセロこのこれでなんか変わったりするのかな。プレイ2の勝利です。このミラータイルって打ってみる。ないんかい。ないでゴンス。これもよく分かってない。これもなんか何かしら入れてみる。One for the Mew Mew Here Classic 2 Player Strategy for lunch time Gaming Enjoy 何クラシック古い2プレイヤーステラジいやもう英語は読めん。あ、ミラーゲームって書いてある。あ、なんてこれ。グラスハック。打ち込んでみますか。なんかちょっと手詰まりしてるんで今。そういうのじゃないな。このミラーゲームって気になるけどね、鏡という単語出てきますからね。違うみたいですね。こいつの男の人の顔何なんだろうな。古い戦略ゲーム。あ、カタカナミラー？ちょっとじゃあミラーだけで検索してみる。こないね。ちな鏡はね、やったの。で、ミラータイルっていうゲームがあるのか。でも無駄なわけないよね。無駄なわけないよな。無駄なわけがないと思うんだよな。ちょっと紫に勝たせてみるか。圧勝。でも意外と全ての色を変えるの難しいかもな。ベア2の処理ですね。赤と青が同一人物のヒント。
From when I woke up.
ありがとうございます。
Okay.
あ、自白じゃなくてアリバイ説明か。
I woke up. Simon was already up, and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday.
ケーキが出て歌を歌ってくれた。
The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby.
うん。
Turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
最初の方かな。で、北に行ったって話かな。うん。赤ちゃんの話の赤だったか。わからん。オーデオン。小杉白書。カール。カール増えたね。
No, I was 15. Carl was older.
うん。
17, I think. I was really into him. Regardless
私は
of
とに
how
かく
much
彼
he
に夢
behaved.
中。
Lots of drunken teenage sex.
うふー。
We did it in a church once. It's
教会。
stupid.
バカだね。
So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
家族。うん。あくびが出てきましたが、まだやります。
So Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
そこでサイモンと出会うのね。もうこの服装の人はおそらくかなり最後の方に喋る人やで。
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the
いや、
car.
多重人格。い
Yeah,
や、
but you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl.
カールの時も
I
そう。
met him first.
花が最初に出会って。
She had such a crush.
やっぱ多重人格だ。
I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses.
なんだ、どういうことだ。
After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity.
なんだ、概念的な処女を言ってるのか。
A bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
は？別人格が別人はそういうことなの？
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous. Didn't want to share.
花はサイモン好きだったんか。
Even the first date. We went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went. Kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me. But that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got
一人
pregnant.
が妊娠したら
From
全
that
員
one time.
妊娠？ちょっと一回私の立ったまま前屈をします。腰が痛くなってきました。やっぱ腰が痛いと思考が鈍るからね。足の大きい筋肉が硬くなると腰が痛いから緩めてください。ありがとうございます。ハムストリングですね。ハムストリング最近お風呂で緩めてます。はい、続きやりましょうか。バンドセクシー教会増えたね。ちょっと皆さんのコメント一回読むか。8歳以降2人で1人のふりをしているのでは。そういうのもあるのか。別人格は別人。まあその人の中では別人ってことだよね。他人で物理的に2人がいるということもあるの。いやどっちかまだ分かってないよね。どの線もありますよね。いやまだまだやっていこう。気になるからさ。
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember
これ
well
何の話だ？
I went over the river and then there was a church
グラスゴーに行った時の話か。
there. Yeah. And I probably
プリンセススト
but
リ
I
ー
remember
ト
seeing a street sign called Princess Street. There it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There.
どうやら道の話をしてるな。
Okay, you got me. I'll
告
confess.
白する。
We were there.
秘密の週末ってやつ。
It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip.
経費を申請し、私も偽名を使って。
We stayed at the hotel.
よくないよ。
Service.
横領じゃん。
Didn't leave the room. Had a great view of the river.
教会の鐘の音が聞こえて。
Like you said.
ロマンチックあげるよ。ロマンチックあげるよ。家族。エアブラシ。なんか俺字汚くてなんて書いてんだこれ。内気。内気なわけがあるか。内気。この人が花なのかな。内気な花ちゃん。ルール。増えましたね。 聞いていきましょうか。
Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad.
また絵の判断してる。
She broke the rules.
あ、ラプンツェルだ。
Maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty. Maybe it was mistaken identity.
うん。
Did they catch her there? I don't know.
ラプンツェルを見てるだけかな。
Just became our way of life.
ああ、
We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful.
あ、なになに、じゃあ、こう
That day
いう
we'd
は日
come
記で
back
してん
and
の？
write
記
a
憶の
detailed
こういうは。
diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those
なんで一人の
rules.
人生を
Rules for things that could
何が一人
only
やったの？
ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them. これだったっけ？ Just became our way of life.
まあ一人の人間を二人で
We would swap places and
二人で順番に演じるようになった。じゃあ、まあ分裂してたわけじゃなくて、むしろ逆だったんだ。
it lasted about 6
6
months.
ヶ月続いた。
I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed.
ああ、なるほど。
Me living in the attic had become weird in a way it hadn't been before.
え？約束ってみますか。お、
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't
そん
mean
な
I have
人
to give
間
up
には
all
秘
his
密をする権利もないっ
secrets.
ていうの？
It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford. 新しい。 Yes. I thought about telling Hannah. I felt guilty after the
結
kiss.
局花に黙ってキスしちゃったんだ、サイモンと。
But then it began to feel like this
お互いに
was
一
the
人
way
男を取り合ってた
it
の。
should be. Sharing. Like we had
シェア
before.
すればいいってか。一 一人の男。
He never mentioned
いやいや
her
難
to
しいだろ
me.
う。でも双子だからできんのか。
There was the Simon with
一卵性
me and the Simon with her. It was almost like it was a different Simon. But
人格を追いやってるってこと？なんか本当に二人以上に俺が感じてるのはちょっとまだわからないってこと？ちょっと待ってね。その辺もちょっと頑張ってこう紐解いていこうよ。今全然まだどっちもあり得る感じになってんだよな。ないよね、証拠というか。この人の話でしかないんだよな。
yes,
筆が進むぜ。
it was
じ
a
ゃあ
shock
タイ
to
ピング
him.
が進むぜ。
I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he. I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the
サイ
baby.
モンの子供だね。まあそれはじゃあこの人は花だな。
I wasn't really ready to talk to him about
いや
it.
もう言ってることが正しいならね、二人で順番にやってたなら花だよな。オックスフォード。
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing, in Oxford.
うんうん。オックスフォードであったからオックスフォードのホテルで横領したと。
Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
うんあ、増えたね。埋まってきたね。半分ぐらいか。半分よりいったかな。
Mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
番号。
Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there.
あなたの家を家宅捜索していいですかみたいなこと。
I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know.
うん。サイモンがいなくなった時の話をしてるっぽいな。この格好の人は本当に真実というか最後の最後に話すね。
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
うん。双子はダメなんで水があってみました。もう姉妹ちょっと待ってね。
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already
もう
told
一人
you.
の刑事さんに話したわ。
I found the body. I
もう一人の刑事もなんか怪しくないですか？
Well,
あ、ラプンツェルか。
she has a knife. She's been cooking. I guess she's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. And he's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure how it ends.
うん。姉妹調べてみますか？うい、ナイス姉妹、イエ
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had.
ー。うん。
She knew that instant. The look on his face. She
寝取ってたっていうのをバレたってこと？
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about
私の
me,
ことを話したの。
told him I was pregnant.
実は自分には彼の
She
知ら
wanted
ない
me to move
姉
in
妹
with
がい
them,
て、
this
誰が妊
sister
娠していて家に呼びたいと。
he didn't know she had. She
サイ
knew
モ
that
ンも
instant.
抱いてて分かったんですかね？違う人だと。でも似てるよなみたいな。
She
うーん。まあそういう話ですから。フィクションです、この物語は。でもそういうこともあります。想像できる範疇であるんだよね。はい。
No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me one.
うん。
Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police
お父さん刑
detective.
事。あれ、もう一人調べたっけ？あ、一個ある。
This other person doesn't exist.
おー、双子
I
疑
don't
い。
know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
うんちょっと疑ってたのかな。うん。お、夢。
We were obsessed with fairy tales.
夢中だった。
Not just the pretty, pretty ones, but the traditional ones.
うん。
They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life.
リアル
We
な
had
や
this
つ。
huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut.
うん。
The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
指をさす王女様。うん。お、誕生日増えましたね。埋まってきたぞ。
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that.
短い。
It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
うんうん。
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
うんうん。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my
私
clothes,
のウィッグと私の服を着て、
pretended to be me.
私のふりをして、
They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me.
うん。
Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it
あ、で、振る
round.
と喉切ったの。
She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off. Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They
じゃあ
talked.
花が犯人なの。
She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me.
彼が私と一緒になりたいと言ってプレゼントを取り出した。
Then he took out a present. Another mirror.
彼は
Just like
騙
the
され
one
てたっ
he'd
てことです
given
ね。
her
変装
earlier.
したこの人に。
That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
何があっても驚かんぞ。ブロンド。
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blonde.
彼ブロンドの女が好きなのよ。ヘレンヘレンって調べたっけ？ヘレンヘレン調べてたか。猫猫。お、こんなにあんの猫で。
No, they were shut. Most of the windows are really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door.
猫の入り口がある。
No, no cat. My parents had a cat before they died
Domino.
called Domino. It was this little black
Domino
white
Neko.
dot. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it. And we never did anything about the cat dots.
確信の
When we
人
worked
は
together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book. The knock code.
モールス信号
Something prisoners of war
モールス信号みたい
use.
なのやってたね。どんどん背中
We tap them out
叩いて
on
背中
radiators
机叩いて
5 to the attic floor.
これなんて言ってんの
Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't
ああ
find
屋根裏で
bought a cat anyway. We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway. 机叩いてたのいつだっけね。何の話してた時だっけ。なんか机トントントンってうつ伏せになって叩いてた動画あったよね。いや覚えてねえわもう。もう忘れてるよ。なんか机に突っ伏してトントントントントントントントンってやってた今の配信の中で動画があったんですけどね、かなり早めだったよね。 Yes, like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end.
うん。
Yes, like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end. 週末。あ、週末であるんかい。 A week or so ago. It would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house. And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship.
職人
Wasn't
肌
always
なんだ。
rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most
大
of the
人っ
time.
ぽかったんかな。
Yeah. Plus, he had that
彼の
look.
顔。王子様。
He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
王子。
I don't know if anyone really changes. You just become more yourself. Simon was my prince, and that hasn't changed.
うん。 花って調べた時だったかな。イブか花。あ、これっぽくない？これだね。よく皆さん覚えてますね。ありがとうございます。タグにモールス信号でつけときましょう。で、この人がモールス信号やってんのはいつだった？これじゃないな。いや、これでもないな。これでもないな。いや、これでもないな。どうやったら花なわけないか。イラスト？違うな。猫か。ありがとう。よし。セッションに保存したが、下はいいがって感じ。なんだこのわしってメモ、なんだこれ。なんでわしってメモしてんだ？何わしって。まあいいか。おとぎ話ウィーク。おー、増えてまんな。
A wig? You mean? But what type of wig?
ブロンドだよ。
No, I've never worn a wig.
本当？
What kind of wig?
つけたことないの？本当？
No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow. So we were separated again.
一回一緒に暮らしてまた別の？
It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist.
この髪のブロンドではないよな、でも。
Anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig.
あ、ウィーク？ブロンド
Hannah
の
and I would meet up in the park.
公園？
I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs.
大丈夫？
Parks and alleyways.
大丈夫それ？
17.
荒れてんな、17歳。
It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD.
ああ、めちゃめちゃ痛い目にあってるじゃん。
When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes.
やっぱ二人いんの？
We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us
嫌だ
wanted
ったの？
it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible.
サイモンが自分の家を持ち次第、私もそこに
That
移
was
る
the。plan.
え？同居すんの結局？埋まってきたな。なんか埋まってくると嬉しいな。
This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other,
おー、
argued,
喧嘩してる。
cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
帰った。帰ったというのがどういうことなのか。精神の中に帰った。でもタトゥーの件があるからな。
Yes, this is it.
二人いて叱るべきだよな。
He made it himself. It was a special one-off. He made it and decorated it. That's his thing. Where did you find it? 喉。もうちょうど続きだ。 On his throat.
あ、喉に自分が作った装飾のガラスがバーってきたの、これ刺さったの。やばいっすね。
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room.
ん？床に横たわってた？いなかったんじゃなくて、あ、喉床に？地下室じゃなくて？
There was a lot of blood.
え？
He was dead.
え？え？まだあるね。
I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other
カール
boys.
の話？
You're reaching here. Oh, I don't know why.
うん。
No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything
嘘つき
from
嘘つき
anyone.
嘘つき嘘つき。
Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs?
うん。
You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
うわ、浮気でめっちゃ出てくんじゃん。しかも最初の方なのこれ。新しい写真
She's
見て。
crying, I guess. She's
あ、おやすみなさい。
because
俺
she
もう
thinks
なんか
she's
眠
with
く
her
なってき
husband
た。
within a woman. But it's okay because she finds out it wasn't her husband,
何？
it's his brother. And so it's fine.
写真を見てそういう判断になっただけだよね。
An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair.
うん。
No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon.
サイモンに入れ込んでんな。
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
昨日も聞いた。6月1、2、3、4、6月30ってことは、こことここは記憶を共有してるな。
Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other.
うん。
Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
わからんな。6時16分。やっぱ動いてないな。これ何なんだろうな。No.
You must be desperate for leads if you're getting hung up over 6-month-old speeding tickets.
Ihan.
Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that.
寝るか。なんもわからんな。なんか、確信めいたことが全然、埋まってはきてるけど、なんか情報が出てきてるんだけど、この人が2人いて、入れ替わりでサイモンさんと会ってて、花さんっていう方は結構入れ込んでたけど、もう一人のこっちの人が、花にルールを破って、花とのルールを破って、サイモンさんにちょっと言っちゃったみたいな感じなのかな、今のところ。ただ、二人とも、一人が人生結構辛かったのかな。助産師さんに取り継いでもらった時、一人死んでるって言われて間違って、でフローレンスさんだっけ、フローラさんだっけ、フローラだったらまた違うゲームになっちゃうな。フローレンスさんの方で育った。ただフローレンスさんもいなくなって二人で暮らすことになったみたいなのがあって、なんかな。いや、まあ今日はここまでにしますか。どうやらオートセーブらしいので、このままバツンと切っても大丈夫なはず。大丈夫なはずよ。大丈夫なはずなんで、起きたらやります。そして日曜日のうちにクリアしたい。僕は。はい。そんな感じでございます。頭を使って眠くなれる配信だったと思う。そんなわけでありがとうございました。皆さん、また、お会いいたしましょう。今日のうちに。何時間寝るんですか？昼飯前、12時とか11時前とかまでは絶対寝ます。ご視聴いただきましてありがとうございました。それではおやすみなさい。バイバイ。ありがとう。